Welcome to another shocking episode of Lockdown 23 and 1. Today we're going to be talking about some people getting got in prison by a Satanist. That's right, man. I've had my share of run-ins with these cats in prison, man. I ain't gonna lie, they kind of creep me out. Got trapped in a cell one time with a couple Satanists, man, doing some rituals with some chicken bones and stuff, man. I'll never forget it. If you ain't seen that story, go check it out. I can't remember the title of the video, but it's a classic. But let's get right into it. If you enjoy all things lockup and crime related, then this is where you want to be. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave, and check out my playlist with many more videos for you to start watching today. Miss Smart was only 19 when she disappeared from the California Polytechnic State University in San Luis on the state's scenic Central Coast over Memorial Day weekend in 1996. Her remains sadly have never been found, but she was declared legally dead in 2002. Prosecutors say Mr. Flores killed Smart during an attempted rape on May 25, 1996 in his dorm room at the university. Girls, man, y'all gotta be very careful in these college parties. A lot of these guys, they just want to take advantage of you. And if you don't give them what they want, they might just try taking it, along with your life. So be very careful. Keep thinking it wouldn't happen to you. All these other girls, they didn't think it would happen to them either. Flores was arrested in 2021 along with his father, who was accused of helping to hide Smart's body. I gotta say this as well, man. You know, I heard a lot of stories about fathers helping people hide bodies and stuff like that. Look, if I were to ever bring a body to my pops, man, he's calling the po-po. I know for a fact. He might give me a lecture before he does, say he loves me, this is the best for you, son. You gotta pay. I'm going straight to Himtown after that, man. My dad ain't gonna help me hide nothing. But salute to all the dads out there that would. If my son, I said that I wouldn't help my son hide a body, but you know what? If I really love him and out of nowhere he says he killed someone, he didn't mean to, and he needs help, he don't want to go to prison for the rest of his life, I don't know, man. I don't know, because I got a serious love for my daughters, and I was really thinking about that the other day when I covered a story. Would I help them hide a body? I don't know, man. I'm just gonna say no. But I don't know. Would you help your kid no matter what? Flores was convicted of first-degree murder last year.
For 25 years, you have lived free in the community, while Kristin's family has lived a nightmare. It is necessary to remove you from society so that you can no longer prey on and victimize women. You deserve to spend every day you have left behind bars. You are committed to the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation as to count 1, a violation of Penal Code Section 187A, murder in the first degree, to the maximum sentence that I can impose by law, an indeterminate term of 25 years to life.
But a separate jury acquitted his father, Ruben Flores, of being an accessory after the fact. His dad probably breathed a breath of fresh air after that, right? But his son was still convicted, and Mr. Flores was sentenced to a California Department of Corrections, which led to him being attacked and almost killed in prison by a Satanist. A California inmate accused of attacking Paul Flores this summer is the same guy that strangled his serial killer cellmate 2 years ago. The California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation this week identified inmate Jason Budrow as a suspect in the August 23rd attack on Flores at the Pleasant Valley State Prison in California, about 185 miles north of downtown Los Angeles. The department declined to share information, of course they did, about how Budrow allegedly was able to get to Flores, or whether it was an investigation on how the attack happened on the agency's watch in light of Budrow's previous behavior while incarcerated. Yeah, how does someone who just strangled someone in prison get the opportunity again just 2 years later to roam the prison? Because he attacked this guy from, I believe, walking from the rec yard to the medical line. We're going to get into it here in a second. I'll break down exactly why I think he was able to get his hands on him. Now, Budrow is a Satanist, all right, and he was already sentenced to life without parole for fatally strangling his girlfriend in 2010 in Riverside County. In a jailhouse interview that year with the Press Examiner, he described himself as a Satanist and supported a 666 tattoo above his right eye. He was also convicted in 2006 of sexually assaulting a teenager. Now, we can't forget this is California that they're doing time in, and this guy was convicted for killing his girlfriend, sexually assaulting a teenager. Those crimes are not going to land you in a low-level prison. They're going to land you in a high-level prison. And if they were to put these guys in the California prison system into the GP main line of a high-level prison, they're going to die. But these guys, when they get these kind of crimes and stuff, the COs even know to put them in these special housing units, SNY yards, or I guess you could call them protective custody blocks. A lot of high-profile serial killers where they know will get killed go there. So these guys are already in prisons that are built to protect and watch you a little bit more than the general population. And that's a big factor when I break down how he was able to get his hands on them. But let's keep on talking about Mr. Budrow here for a second. Like I already said, in 2021, Mr. Budrow strangled his new cellmate serial killer, Roger Reese Kibb. Kibb strangled and raped at least 7 women, several of them in the Sacramento and Stockton areas along Interstate 5. One of his signature moves was cutting his victims' clothing into odd patterns. Now, Mr. Kidd, the I-5 strangler, was killed in Mule Creek State Prison. And from doing interviews with convicts across the country, I've came to the conclusion that in California, at least certain parts of this facility, Mule Creek, is designed for special housing, okay? A lot of people, bad charges, or they're just scared to go into mainline, go to this prison. I've also heard stories, though, that there are some regular mainline places in this prison that aren't considered no good. Everything, even down to where the inmate was housed at, tells a story. Now, Budrow, for the killing of the I-5 strangler in his cell, earned himself another consecutive life sentence. In a letter to the San Jose Mercury News, Budrow wrote that he killed Kibb on the day they became cellmates. Though he had planned the murder for months after he saw a TV special about him and sought to share a cell so he could carry it out. Budrow wrote that although he wanted a single cell, he was on a mission for avenging Kibb's victims. Budrow also told the newspaper that he had carved a crude inverted pentagram into Kibb's body. And you know, this ain't the first time I've heard of people carving stuff into the dead body of their cellmate. There's many stories I brought on this channel about that. It's almost like they're bored and they just want to do something even more extravagant. He was put into the prison's administrative segregation unit, a single-person cell like he always wanted. But eventually he gets transferred to another prison called Pleasant Valley. Budrow was also placed in restrictive housing there as well, which under state law is reserved for prisoners who may pose a risk to others or to themselves, or whose behavior disrupts the safe and orderly functioning of the facility. The state would not say whether Flores was also in restricted housing at the time of the attack, which occurred somewhere between the restricted yard and the medical clinic. Authorities also disclosed a possible motive. Before we get into the motive, let's break it down really quick. It says that he was attacked somewhere between the recreational yard and the medical clinic. Usually people that are on restricted housing, they go to medical at the same time. One at a time sometimes, or 2 at a time. And their CO's watching all the time, you know, at least from what I've seen. But if you were to ask me, they know exactly what Mr. Budrow's all about. He killed his cellmate, which happened to be a serial killer, and he said that he was doing it to avenge the victims. So what makes you think he ain't gonna do it to someone else? Not to mention it was 2 years prior, and he's already walking the yard without, you know, red onion status. And y'all that don't know about red onions, a Virginia prison, man, go look at how they transfer inmates around. He ain't gonna kill nobody with that kind of security staff, right? These guys are high profile, made nationwide news, but they're not being escorted anywhere by no guards, shackled hand to feet. No, they're not. You know why? If I were to guess, it's because they want that fool to get got. Come on, man. If I was a CO, I'd be letting them guys roam too. All right, everybody in restricted housing units, med call. We usually go one by one, but we're just gonna pop all the cell doors today. Good luck, motherfucker. That's just if me and Bobby were COs, man. There'd be all kinds of bodies laying around the yard. And then we would hit the news channel with the best line ever. We can't disclose nothing at this time, sir. It says Flores was hospitalized in serious condition for 2 days before he was returned to the prison, state officials said. He didn't die, though, you know. And in Mr. Budrow's eyes, he's probably looking at it like mission failed. After the attack, Mr. Budrow was found near the scene with some sort of prison-made weapon and surrendered to the prison staff. Prison officials have recommended that prosecutors charge Budrow in the attack on Flores. The Fresno County District Attorney's Office has not yet been given the case for review. Flores was only transferred to Pleasant Valley the week before the attack to serve his sentence of 25 years to life for killing Smart. He was attacked only a week after being transferred to that prison. All right, a lot of these guys, when they first get there, they have no idea that inmates are waiting for them. I promise you, they are. There ain't too many damn yards they could go to, man. These kind of high profile cases, right? So they know exactly, probably chances are, where they're going to be going. Not to mention, before they get transferred, guess who's going to be telling all the inmates where they're going? Classification. A K classification has inmates that work with them as well. And these inmates, they can read the logs and they'll pass word to all the other inmates where they're going to be going. Before I went to my main prison, I used to ask one of them trustee kind of guys that works in that reception area with the COs, hey, go read the log, find out where I'm going. You know, and they would. It was harmless. It wasn't nothing major. But when people are plotting to kill someone, then it can become pretty major. Right? It's a process, but if people want to get at you, they can. You know, this ain't like some of these streams you've been seeing. What's that guy's name? Kai Kent? Whatever, man. Look, I typed in prison the other day. His damn prison stuff has been popping up everywhere, man. It ain't nothing like that in lockup, y'all. Maybe like 2% of what he was showing is kind of like jail, but man, prison and jail is filled with death, beatings, extortion, humiliation, revenge, and rape. I mean, that's all there really is to it. There's a few laughs in between, but you're laughing looking around. The reality of it, especially in the California prison system, is you got bad paperwork, someone's going to kill you. You don't go with the program, someone's going to kill you. You never really know how real it is until you're on the concrete bleeding out yourself or watching someone else go through it. Then you know, right? Then, that very second, prison ain't a game. You know, a lot of stuff in prison, you know, like you hear this saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, it's kind of like that in prison. A lot of situations go unseen and unheard, man, but they're absolutely treacherous. Prison is by far not a game. Now, just to wrap this up, you know, a lot of people think that probably Mr. Budrow is some kind of a hero, but really he's not. He's in there for the same kind of paperwork these guys are in there for. So regardless of what this guy does, man, he ain't gonna get no respect in the penitentiary. Also, just to tap into what I already said, there's two situations I think could have happened here. One, the COs knew exactly what time it was. They probably didn't know if he was going to attack them or not, but they knew exactly what they were doing when they opened up those doors to go to medical at the same time. Or, number two, because, you know, the turnover rate in prison when it comes to correctional officers is high. Maybe it was a new guy and he ain't following all these cases. He probably got debriefed a little bit on it and said, look, don't ever open up these doors together. Maybe it just crossed his mind and he accidentally opened up the wrong doors. Those are like the only two possibilities of how this guy could have gotten got in a prison that's built to kind of protect these type of individuals. And one more thing, look, this is why you never trust anybody, any cellmate that you get in prison. Like you seen with this guy, he was out within 2 years after strangling homeboy to walk to the medical line without any kind of shackles or anything. No guards watching him. I mean, maybe from the tower, but not standing right next to him. Like that Red Onion stuff, level 5 lockdown, you ain't going nowhere without a guard next to you. Keep this in mind, man, because anytime if you happen to take this road, you go to the penitentiary, you get a new cellie, you're questionable about him. Anybody that goes to a higher level prison, you're getting a new cellmate, man, anything's possible with that guy. He could have killed 2 or 3 people in the past, you have no idea. A lot of prisons will eventually let these guys down a level. We did a story the other day about a guy in Georgia, man. He done killed 2 or 3 people in prison. They put him back into GP. And it was like a 3-4 prison, man. So this guy had a lot of roaming he could do. A lot of inmates he could kill. And that's what he said too during the interview. He said one of the hardest things for me coming into this GP after living in segregation for so long was trying not to kill another inmate. You know, once you kill once, they say once you get the taste of blood, man, it's easy to taste it again. But just to sum all this up, you know, there's a lot of stuff, like I said, in prison that people will never find out about. It's such a shady world, I guess you could say. And there's a lot of dirty players in it, man. The COs, the inmates, guidance counselors, the wardens. Not every prison, but a lot of prisons. And when there's dirty people working these positions, anybody can get got if they want them to get got. I'm not saying that's what happened here. I'm just saying it's happened. I was in a prison where this guy got taken out of a pod and the CO opened the door for the Bloods to go in there and attack him and kill him. Why? It's because the guard was a Blood as well. You just don't know, man. So watch your P's and Q's. It ain't a game. You can have fun, laugh and giggle, but at the root of it, you got to know it's not a game. You got to respect the penitentiary and the people inside of it, or else you could die. Hopefully you enjoyed today's episode, and I'm sure Mr. 666 is going to be looking for his next victim here soon. I won't be surprised if he makes the tabloids for killing another inmate here within the next 5 years. And guess what? The department ain't going to have nothing to say about it then either. But stay tuned, I got another shocking story coming from a Hawaii prison system about a USO shock collar. Or at least that's what they're calling him in the newspaper, man. This guy looks like a pure maniac. He's got a mullet, man, and nowadays, man, these convicts with mullets, they terrify me. We don't want no parts of that, right, Bobby? So stay tuned for that, and as always, ladies and gentlemen, y'all be easy, be safe, and stay free.